Hello and welcome to A Genteel Black Hole, the home of my bookish rambles. My name's Ali, and this is Peak Fantasy. Get it? Because it's written by Mervyn Peake. I just spent the last 3 weeks reading Titus Groan by Mervyn Peake. This is something that has been on my radar for a long time. I remember watching the BBC adaptation of Gormenghast when it aired 25 years ago. So when I was like 14. And I've been interested in trying the books as well, but I was also kind of hesitant. I worried they might be just difficult to read. And it was kind of a slow read, but it wasn't a chore or a slog in any way. In fact, it kept me thoroughly gripped throughout the entire duration of the book, and it's ended up being probably my favourite book of the year so far. So I thought I would have a little chat about just what makes it so good. So if you're not familiar with Titus Groan, it's the first book in Mervyn Peake's Gormenghast series. It was written, it was first published in 1946, and it's nominally a sort of dark gothic fantasy, but truly I find it quite hard to categorize. In fact, it seems to kind of create a genre all of its own. It's the kind of thing that once you read it, you can point to other stuff that came later and go, that's a bit Gormenghast. It's all set in and around the castle of Gormenghast, this huge, sprawling, chaotic place that has kind of accumulated different towers and wings over the centuries. Its current lord is Sepulcrave, the 76th Earl of Groan. And as the story begins, the news is spreading through the castle that the next heir has been born, Titus. And although Titus is the title character, the actual central character of the book, I would say, is Steerpike. He is he starts out as a kitchen boy, and throughout the book, he basically manipulates and insinuates himself into positions of ever-increasing power using whatever underhand tactics he can think of. To my mind, it's almost as if you supplanted Patricia Highsmith's Tom Ripley into a sort of gothic fantasy. He's a fascinating, chilling character that I watched his every move with growing horror and also, fascination. I couldn't look away, even as he was doing the most horrible things. This book really is quite different from any other fantasy that I've read. I think that while a lot of fantasy in the sort of Tolkien tradition tends to build a whole world and then give you a tour of like everything there is to see, Mervyn Peake focuses almost claustrophobically on the castle of Gormenghast. There's the occasional little glimpse of surrounding areas, but you really learn nothing at all of the wider world or even what country Gormenghast is in. It's so focused entirely on the castle, making the castle almost a character in the book. It's kind of, you're learning as much about the the hidden nooks and crannies of Gormenghast as you are the dark machinations of Steerpike. Mervyn Peake, as well as being an author, was also an illustrator, and that kind of keen visual sense really shines through in his writing as well. It's an incredibly vividly described book, which makes it very slow paced because you do have to kind of pause and actively visualize each scene to really follow what's going on and sort of soak in the atmosphere that he's creating. It's full of almost surreal and beguiling images that I will remember for a long time, I think. It's also full of very caricaturish descriptions of the characters. And that's where I think my one criticism would be, my one fly in an otherwise amazing ointment. Because there is a certain amount of body shaming involved in Mervyn Peake's caricatures. I've spoken before about how kind of grotesque descriptions of fatness can just piss me off. And Swelter, the head chef, is described constantly in those kinds of unflattering terms. Now, he's not the only character that Peake is unflattering about. All of his descriptions are unflattering, whether the character is fat or thin or tall or short. He's kind of othering everyone, which I suppose almost cancels it out, but his descriptions of Swelter's fatness in particular are just, it's a bit much. So if that's the sort of thing that would bother you, then take a recommendation with a pinch of salt, because it's pretty strong. But as I say, I did love the rest of the book so much that I could give that a pass. So what would I compare this book to, and who would I recommend it to? Well, for starters, I think there's something of Dickens about it, in that it's very slow paced. There's the sort of caricaturish descriptions of characters, and all the characters have quite outlandish names like Sepulcrave and Dr. Prunesqualor and Mr. Flay. I suppose you could compare it to Tolkien in that it creates this entire other world that feels very very real and lived in, but unlike Tolkien, it doesn't give you a tour of the whole place. It just like zeroes in on one castle. I suppose you could also compare it to things like Lewis Carroll, in that it's quite surreal and sometimes unsettling, but yeah, it's definitely not intended for children, unlike Lewis Carroll. So yeah, it's very dark and gothic and often disturbing. And I can see the influence that Mervyn Peake must have had on later writers like the disgraced Neil Gaiman or Susanna Clarke. I can feel his influence in their books very strongly. But I think with both Clarke and Gaiman, I've always found that the synopsis, the description, the concept of their books often intrigues me, and then the actual experience of reading them kind of doesn't live up to the promise. Whereas Titus Groan, for me, absolutely did. it really lives up to everything that I've heard about it, and it actually exceeded it for me. I often struggle with longer, slower paced books, but something about Titus Groan just kept me constantly hooked, constantly invested and interested. And I was always happy to pick it up again every morning and keep going without feeling like I needed to rush and get it over with. There's a bit in the book that describes the Earl's teenage daughter, Fuchsia, and her love of strange and ugly art because it shows her things that she never would have thought of for herself. And I think that kind of sums up what this book is. It's exactly the sort of book that Fuchsia would love. And yeah, it's exactly the sort of book that I loved as well. So yeah, coming up to halfway through the year, and I finally found a book that I can confidently say is the best one that I've read so far this year. Whether it stays at the top once we get to December, yeah, we'll find out. But it's definitely a strong contender for Book of the Year. But that's about it from me today. If you've made it this far, why not let me know in the comments whether you've read Titus Groan and what you thought of it, or what other books you would recommend in a similar style, if such things even exist, or whatever else you might want to mention. I'm always happy to hear from you. Anyway, I hope you're having a lovely day, and I will see you when I see you.